All right, guys, we are live. We got our special guests. If anybody watches 95.7 The Game, we got Guru, the man, the myth, the legend. How's it going, dude?
What's up, man? I'm fired up. I wish the game was tomorrow. I see you all in your fit and your gear, but this is going to be a great one. Two teams with the rich playoff history, man. So I'm juiced.
It is. I mean, this is going to be must watch because you have like the most best rivalry in football. It hasn't been so relevant since last year. Now it's kind of like renewed, right? How do you feel about this matchup?
You know what? I like the fact that they met last year, and it was in Dallas. So you're right. It has been quiet on the set for a while, but now you got Dan Quinn's defense, a fast defense led by Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence going up against all of a sudden this Niner juggernaut of an offense led by McCaffrey, bro. And the Purdy story, it's incredible. I honestly don't think the Niners are going to be stopped unless they go up against Andy Reid in Kansas City. I could be wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong. And that's what makes this Sunday at 3:30 at Levi so interesting.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, this is going to be the game. Like Brock Purdy, this is the Cinderella story. Then you got the Cowboys who've overcome the demons, of the Tom Brady. It must have felt great to get over the hump on Tom Brady, right?
I'm going to tell you this. That's a great question. It did, but Dallas wasn't playing Tom Brady. Dallas was playing itself. Dak, people had put him in his coffin. They lost a meaningless game that had me scared against the Commanders the last game of the season, but they didn't look buttoned up. They looked like they didn't know what they were doing on both sides of the ball. So Monday, that was the best I've seen them play in a long, long time. And I know, Tampa Bay wasn't 500, but again, to me, man, it wasn't about that. It was Dallas. What can you do on this stage? And they showed out. We'll just see if it translates Sunday on the road.
Yeah, that's what we're going to see because you guys won a road game, and you guys haven't won a road playoff game since when you played the Niners at Candlestick Park in 92.
Wow, I was at that game, 92, man.
It had to be that long time ago. I didn't even know that was that long of a playoff win because I guess you guys win your playoff games in Dallas every now and then.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and then speaking of the hiring, the Titans hired the guy on the Niners front office, and I guess the Niners get an extra draft pick. That's got to be something viable for those extra picks sometimes, huh?
That's pretty dope. And I see you got your Niner gear on, and Niner fans listening and watching. I almost want to just tell, and it's nothing bad, but get used to it, right? Because it looks like D'Amico Ryans, if he doesn't get picked up this year, next year, I don't know, Robert Saleh. But when you got a good thing going like Kyle Shanahan, who I'm hard on, but I recognize his genius, man, there's going to be a lot of departures,
Yeah, especially D'Amico. He's already getting interviews for the Broncos and other spots, so that tells you how viable a candidate he could be. Even the Texans are trying to get him.
It's interesting, I don't got to tell you how hard it is for, black head coaches in the NFL. And it's not just that one job. It's after you get fired, the second and third and fourth go-round, where I think a lot of black coaches lose out. But I'm just thinking of D'Amico Ryans, like, if he chooses to say, and a lot of black candidates have, I'm not going to Houston. And then I think to myself, I understand why, but like, if you choose to do that, what if you don't get that second go round? So I'm rooting for D'Amico. He's earned it, man. It'll be curious to see how it plays out after the season. Let me ask you this. Do you like that D'Amico Ryans or any other coach on these playoff teams can interview the week of getting ready for a game?
I think it distracts a little bit of them from preparation perspective.
No doubt. I'm with you. Like, they got to fix that, no shade. We know you want a job, but after the Super Bowl, at least it's only two teams in, but I just had that thought.
Yeah, it distracts a little bit, and I agree with that part. I mean, Dante's supposed to be more focused on the game first, but I guess it's better to get it out the park, and then you can just move forward, just like how Shanahan took care of it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then I'm wondering if D'Amico was listening to us like, dude, it's just an interview. I got the plan together. It's not a big deal, but it's just like what you said originally, man. You just want them honed in. You got to get on the plane or Zoom, whatever. Just focus on the task at hand.
That's all that matters right there. So As far as like the Cowboys, like when everybody questions a lot of the receiving core, I mean, you guys have some underrated receivers like Noah Brown's another guy that doesn't get much recognition there. But when you guys lost Amari Cooper during the offseason, I thought that was a big loss right there because that would have made it easy for CeeDee Lamb to get all the catches.
You know what? That's a great point. And, I'm a grown ass man, so I can't be mad at Dak Prescott. But I feel like one of his shortcomings, unlike Tony Romo, he didn't know how to high point a ball. Like a dude had to be wide open like a deer in a field for him to throw it. And they didn't get the best. The first year they got Amari in season, they took off. The offense was totally different, like you guys with McCaffrey. But I thought Dak left a lot of chicken on the bone with Amari Cooper to where the Joneses felt like, you know what, he's not worth all that. But now we got Michael Gallup coming off a catastrophic knee injury last year. He's back, but he's not all the way back. But I will say this, he can high point the ball with the best of them. He can catch it in traffic. Not the fastest guy, but he'll get deep. And he had his best game Monday. So I'm starting to think, in sports, we see it to where one game can kind of be the key to unlock. And I'm wondering if Dallas can sustain that. And we see a lot of Gallup with CeeDee Lamb. And I don't know what you think of CeeDee Lamb, bro, but I think he's underrated. He reminds me, here I go, of a poor man's Devontae Adams. People can laugh and scoff at it, but he's a beast. It's just, will Dak give him the ball? And your secondary, there's questions. So that's my key to the game. Can you guys shut down the Cowboy passing game?
Oh, that's going to be a tough task, especially like you said, CeeDee Lamb, a poor man's Devontae Adams. I think he's kind of like similar to what Hopkins is, if I'm being realistic.
Oh, I love it.
The way he catches the ball sometimes, there's plays. I mean, I've been watching this guy for Oklahoma, so I've been wanting this guy, and we passed him. I was mad about it. I was mad about it. We wanted Kinlaw. We wanted Kinlaw over this guy. But then we settled for Ayuk, which he's a pretty good route runner. I'll give him that.
Dude, I don't know if you saw that my partner Steiny on the show was kind of giving me the business because he's not an Ayuk fan, but he says I overrate him. But there was a video going out with Ayuk just breaking dudes' ankles off the line of scrimmage. Every receiver can't do that, and I know you go, well, every receiver doesn't have to. But, dude, Ayuk is a technician running routes, man.
Oh, especially the way he runs the routes. It's kind of like he does that. But then that block against Seattle, he did a nasty block. You see that block? Oh, my God.
Oh, man. The great ones blocked, too. Jerry Rice was a blocker. Michael Irvin. They don't half-ass. You're right. That was a great block by Ayuk.
Oh, yeah, especially. But then when you look at your secondaries, okay, like Trayvon Diggs, one of the best corners at that position. Then you got another guy that I've heard of from Fresno State named Darren Bland. I don't know if he's going to be the full starter, but I think you guys have some rotations at that spot.
Yeah, we do, and this is what's scary and says it all about the Cowboys secondary. We just signed former All-Pro bowler Xavier Rhodes off of the street, and he got major snaps against Tampa Bay Monday, and he'll be out there, not a speed burner, but it's upstairs. They feel like, you know what, he knows where to go. But Bland is a baller. I like him, but in this situation, if I'm the Niners, man, and I expect Purdy to have time, if Parsons and the rest of the gang, Lawrence and Dorrance Armstrong aren't on Purdy's back, my plan of attack would be throw the ball deep. And what's funny about Tampa, and we saw Leftwich get fired, the offensive coordinator. I thought that was kind of a raw deal, but they didn't go deep into the end. And when they did it, they got a touchdown, Julio Jones. So I'm petrified of the Cowboys secondary holding up against the Niners. But what do they always say? What's a cornerback's best friend? A defensive pass rush. So if Dallas can get home, that would definitely help alleviate the concerns in the secondary.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. The defensive line makes it easy for the secondary. They'll have some time to cover, and then it makes the quarterback throw the ball off a little bit. And then, that's what I've noticed about that type of game. They weren't throwing as deep like you were saying because maybe the protection wasn't that great.
Yeah, that's a great point. You're right. But when they did, I'm like, man, I was like, where was that? If I'm a Tampa fan, where was that the first and second quarter? But again, like we just talked about, you got to have time to be able to throw it deep downfield. And Brady was he's a statue right now. He ain't like Brock Purdy. He's never been able to really, really get loose. So that had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, a stationary quarterback who moves like an old man, that's going to be a disadvantage for that defense. I mean, like the way you guys had that matchup, Parson was all over him and all that stuff. So, like, there's been those debates between Michael Parson and Bosa for Defensive Player of the Year, but I've seen it kind of turn a different direction. But you can't deny the talent that Michael Parson brings to this defense for the Cowboys, man. He just had that speed, man. He's like a hybrid type linebacker who can do everything,
Hey, that's a great point. I got a Parsons jersey, but let me tell you this, and it's no shade at Micah, man. I don't know if a hybrid is a good thing, and let me tell you why. Because early on, he was getting after quarterback, sacked left and right. He's like Draymond Green of the NFL. He's not built like Bosa. And when you got him on the line going up against, we'll just say a C plus, a C minus average offensive lineman, yeah, he may beat him, but the wear and tear, and it gets to you and catches up. And Micah slowed down, man. And I'd be like, what's wrong? Why is he not jumping off my TV screen? But there's no doubt they didn't use him enough or spare him at linebacker to where, he wasn't going up against them collisions. So he'll never be the biggest dude on the field. But I'll tell you this, Brock Purdy's elusive. And I saw it against Seattle. And it wasn't high schoolish or college, but I was like, Brock it's going to come back to burn him when he does that. I call it skedaddle, left, right, and then throws the ball away. I'm like, a guy like Lawrence or Parsons or a better defense, they're going to be waiting for you, Brock. So you got to be decisive with it, because it may not be this Sunday, but some good defense with two good edge rushers are going to be waiting on that, if that makes any sense. So I'm eager to see how that plays out too.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question right here. I don't know if we should even play Danny Gray. I don't know, but I think like the speed wise, if you go for those deep passes, I think we can use him for a decoy if we were to play Danny Gray. But he's been underutilized.
Hey, isn't that funny, man, how it works? We get all excited about these players, and he hasn't done a damn thing wrong to me. But you do kind of wonder, especially, and no, I love Jimmy. I respect what Jimmy's done. But with that said, this whole year, even when Debo was out, I was like, oh, he's going to be a deep threat. But they hardly ever used him, man. So I'm real curious about that. Dude's a blazer. I ain't got to tell you. Great.
Yeah, it's just the way we underutilize him. It's got to do with what Shanahan's motto. You have to block in order for him to be on the field. That's always been.
You know what? Yeah. That might go back to last year, and I kind of hated it. I didn't understand it when Ayuk was in the doghouse. I know there were different things being out there. Oh, you ain't a practice player or whatever, but maybe that had something to do with it. But Ayuk is no longer in the doghouse, and I don't know if blocking is something that Kyle requires from his receivers.
Well, you see guys like Jennings get on the field more because of his blocking technique, the way he hits.
Let me ask you this. I got a question for you. I'm telling you, man, if Brock Purdy and the Niners pull this off, I mean, just Disney is going to make the movies in waiting. With all that said, I've criticized Jimmy left and right, but Jimmy's taken this team to a Super Bowl. He gave them a 10-point lead last year in the NFC Championship game. So I know what Jimmy is and what he's not. But with that said, the addition of McCaffrey to me has been a godsend for Kyle Shanahan and that offense. And I kind of lightweight feel bad. How am I going to feel bad for a professional athlete? Like, I honestly believe the Niners would still be here if Jimmy was under quarterback, being able to, hand off to McCaffrey, throw to him in the flat. But it's opened up everything else for Kittle, who wasn't getting touchdowns. Now he's unstoppable. I mean, what do you make of the Brock Purdy situation? Is it Kyle? Is it Brock? Is it a combo? Is it McCaffrey? Where are you at?
I think the way his skill set, it's a lot better than what Jimmy brought to the table, because when Brock Purdy gets a little pressure, he can move outside the pocket a little bit more.
No doubt.
Like for Jimmy, it probably takes him a couple of reads to look for another receiver, but Brock will just look for the next guy. And if he doesn't see him open, he'll try to move up a little more and try to look for that next open guy. And he tends to do that. But a lot of people are kind of like surprised by this rookie. I mean, yeah, last pick in the draft, you would expect this guy to be more of a practice squad guy, but he's kind of outperforming the expectation the way he's playing this game. He's been there and done it, played what is it, 4 years at Iowa State.
Man.
The best competition that he's faced, the crowd was loud, the environment, it's kind of relatable to this NFL level.
No doubt. And like I said, it's a wonderful story. We're all watching, but there's no doubt his mannerisms, as you just talked about, to be able to look downfield, keep a play alive, that's everything, especially nowadays, man. So nobody can take that from him. And I didn't pose that question to do that. I'm just like, yeah, man, those mechanics and the quick feet. I mean, that's the difference. It's night and day with what Jimmy would do, and why your offense is scoring 30 points and 40 points like it feels like every other week.
Yeah, and I think if I'm going to be honest, between those with the difference with Purdy, I think it's just him in the system, because I think he fits this offense. Like if everybody's kind of like going by that question, is it just him or the system, the team? I think it's a collectively of the team as a unit, because Purdy does a lot and he's got the weapons. So everything around him makes him better. When he played at Iowa State, he had 30 wins with maybe very decent amount of talent players coming out of college. He made the most out of those other receivers.
Great point.
Yeah, but he's got big names. He's got Debo.
Dude, I mean, I honestly mean this. I was late to the party, and Andy Reid was with Philly in the NFC East for a long time, so I shouldn't have been late. But he never got a ring. He got to like 4 NFC championship games. With that said, name me another team that's weaponry is as lethal as the Niners, and I'm not even including the quarterback. You got Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, and now McCaffrey, bro. I don't believe there's another team out there that has that firepower. And Mahomes and Andy Reid, they don't even got Tyreek Hill. The beauty of them is they're doing it with any and everybody. But man, bro, tell me another team that has what the Niners have on offense. I mean, it's sick.
Yeah, it is. I don't think I can't even think of another team like that. Maybe Kansas City. Kansas City is the closest I can think of.
Okay. All right.
They do got weapons.
Man.
Like, we forget about how Mahomes got all these receivers. Like, they're not the big names like Tyreek Hill, but they make some plays out of it. Then you got the running back McKinnon that everybody's not even talking about, but
That's amazing. Andy Reid's using McKinnon like McCaffrey, but again, his body let him down. So it wasn't like Kyle didn't know how to use him. He was never available, right? So no, you can't. That's all that was.
Yeah, I could think of that. That would be the closest one I can think of, is either Kansas City, like you said. Andy Reid can make the most out of any of these guys. And Mahomes, even without Tyreek Hill, he's still winning games.
Hey, let me ask you this, because Bosa, you said it earlier, as Defensive Player of the Year. I thought Parsons had action, but a lot of people from different places talk about the Niners, and rightfully so, it's Bosa. But do you think that D-line is underrated outside of Bosa?
Is it underrated without Bosa there? I think there's some talented players who can make a case for it, but when you look at guys like Charles Omenihu, he doesn't get enough recognition for the stuff he did. That playoff game against Seattle, he had 2 sacks and a strip sack.
Oh, it was big.
Very unnoticed. Eric Armstead, at times he could be good, but he does the dirty work. So that's another guy. And Drake Jackson, he's a rookie. He has a limited potential to be really good.
Hey, it's funny. Those are all great points. You mentioned Kinlaw. You know, the best ability is availability. What do you think of him? I love his swag, but I'm like, dude, you got to be around here for 5 to 7 to 8 weeks, a whole season if you can. What do you make of Kinlaw?
When he's available, he could definitely be a difference maker, but that knee's the problem. That's always been the concern, is that arthritis knee. It's kind of been holding him back a little bit. They've been very limited with him. They've been too cautious with him. It's like, we got to trust this guy, man. We got to have him out there. But like you said, the best ability is the best ability for him to be out there, or else he'd be a factor.
Right. No, that's a great point, man. I'm so juiced for this game. And then, I don't know what you think. We haven't talked much Eagles, but, they led the league in sacks and turnovers. So some are saying they're better than the Dallas Cowboy defense. And what I like from a Niner perspective and this offense and Brock is you're going to face Dallas. And if you get by them, Philly, if they, handle business against the Giants, now you're going on the road to go up against allegedly another stout defense. So I got my popcorn ready, man. I can't wait to see how the Niners go. I do really honestly, it's the star on mine. I expect Dallas to beat the Niners to beat Dallas. I don't think Dallas is smart enough. Kellen Moore is offensive coordinator, and a lot of games they're running and they should never pass. I'm not saying don't throw. He don't know how to stay with one thing that's working. And Kyle is just a gangster. Not that he's perfect, but when something's working, they're going to stick with it, man.
That's the formula. Like, if he sticks with it, like, there's been the times in the season where he's been able to stick with the formula, and then for whatever reason, the playoffs, he seems to abandon a little bit of stuff. I'm kind of questioning it. Like that Chiefs Super Bowl. Why didn't he not just run the ball or stick with Debo?
I've said this a million times. They got to the 40 in a hop, skip, and a jump. And I don't know if you ever heard this. Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu said he wanted to give the Niners, I've never heard this. This came out of his mouth, a gift basket. We go, what for? Every time they threw it, we were happy because he was saying we couldn't stop him on the ground. And you're right. Why did you go away from that, Kyle? So I get mad at Kyle because I feel like people blame Jimmy, and I bring it up all the time, Mrs. Sanders. Nah, that's situational play calling, bro. You know how to put the play together, but when something's working, you got to stick with it. And he went away from that, allowing Chris Jones to block the passes that you shouldn't have even been throwing.
That's what I was thinking, dude. Like, why not we just stick with what we did with Debo and mix up some plays and run the ball?
Oh, man.
Dude, Mostert was on fire in the second half.
You guys beat the Chiefs that day. You were the better team. I'm sorry.
It's all right, man. It's all good. But I know it's looking forward to this week, man. I know you kind of been having some good guesses on the show, man. Like, you had some good conversation with guys like Barry Switzer, and you always have your boy Lorenzo Neal, man, the legend of Fresno State, man. That it's got to be nice to have these guys' perspective, man. They just know
no doubt about it. And you talk about, guys that coached the game. Lo Neal should be in the Hall of Fame. He played the game. But I'll tell you about Lo Neal. His analysis is fair, man. And I want to ask you, if I can, what do you think about that secondary? I know Lenore, he was getting picked on. Last week it was Ward, DK Metcalf. That play before the strip fumble from Geno Smith, I feel like had Metcalf kept his balance, he might have took it to the house. And I go to the Raider game with Stidham. Dallas has some tight ends. Dalton Schultz. Dak likes to use them. I'm just wondering, like, could Ward and Lenore have a so-so game together? Could Kellen Moore and Dak read to feel like that? And I say all that to say, that's what Lowe's emphasis was, like, hey, this Niner D is good, but it ain't the 85 Bears. And if you keep somebody back there, I know my boy Zeke is kind of done, but he runs hard, but he's a great blocker. You keep him in, max protect, or Chip Bosa, then what do you got? Does Dak have time? So Lowe was kind of letting me know, the secondary was a concern of his from the Niners.
Oh, yeah, it is, because Lenore at times can have a terrible performance, but this week with Ward, he was getting beat by Metcalf. So,
man,
that's concerning. But I think as far as the matchup wise, I think Lenore's kind of stepping into the challenge this week, because everybody was calling him the weakest link. But I think for Ward, he has to step it up. Like, it's kind of hard to tell which one's looking good, but I know our suspect is either secondary, because that's always been the Achilles heels ever since Shanahan's been running this team. It's always been the secondary. We don't go for those high picks. We don't go for those top tier guys. We always go for these low picks or guys
man.
I don't understand that approach, but we should at least try to go for those type of high pick cornerbacks at least.
Great point. If I was watching the game with you, because I'm always – sports is amazing, man. You think it's going one way or whatnot, and then something changes. If I were with you at halftime of the Seattle game after the Jimmy Ward penalty, what would you tell me? Were you like shocked? Were you like, oh, this will subside, Niners got it? Because Brock, I don't want to say he was off, but he showed like, he ain't no 10-year veteran. What did you make of your team being down at half last week?
It kind of seemed like the way they always play, the little struggle in the first half. Like, first half, we kind of give teams a little chance, and then second half, we kind of make the quick adjustments. I don't know, like the way we kind of made some stupid penalties, like Jimmy Ward. Man, if he would have just stayed disciplined, they would never keep that field. That was a boneheaded play that I kind of question.
It could have cost you. You're right. He got away with it. He got lucky.
Yeah, he's lucky it wasn't the fourth quarter, or else that game's over.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude, it's like this is going to be a dogfight between these two teams because historically this is a great rivalry, and these are two good defenses. You're going to see you're going to see another good offense, and I think a lot of people said it for years. Whoever wins this game probably would have a better chance to win it all the way to the Super Bowl, maybe.
Yeah, that's tight because that's the 90s. Remember, whoever won the NFC Championship was pretty much going to win the Super Bowl, and that's how it went down, man. So I'll say this about Dallas from a Dallas perspective. I've been down on Dak. The national media has, if you follow any of that. So I thought Monday was a big deal. Like I said, he was playing himself. He looked assertive and knew where he was going, get through the reads. But the Niner D is going to be a different beast. But what the Niners in this game represent for Dak, if somehow he can win it, being the winning quarterback, I mean, I'm telling you, man, it goes from him being a 5.5 to an 11. So that's what's at stake. And doing this on the road, I mean, like, if I could talk to him, I'd be like, dude, if somehow you could have your out-of-body experience and ball out and you guys win, I mean, people will remember this game. And I know it's not the one to go to the Super Bowl, but it's so big, it would almost be like that one,
It kind of goes that way because it has some meaningful to it. Like any other rivalry game in the playoffs, you can forget about the other games. Like we had Niners and Packers for quite a while.
Yeah,
but it kind of got lame. We started mollywopping them. Now you
dude,
get
those were battles, man. Those were battles.
Especially with Rodgers, he can't even get over us. So it's like I want
you
something
beat
new.
Him last year. He couldn't even get in the end zone in his own spot last year. That was amazing.
Dude, and it's amazing how we just won with our special teams on that play.
Man.
Like, how do you win? Like, like the Packers had one of the worst special teams, and they only scored one touchdown on that drive. That was it. And it was pretty much the rest of the history. But, yeah, Cowboys and Niners, man. It's like you guys are taking a trip to Levi's. Last time you guys played us at that stadium, you guys blew the crap out of us. So
that's when Dez Bryant was playing. He got a touchdown in the end zone on that game. I remember that. Sunday afternoon. But I'll say this, just the uniform, I'm a nerd, the uniform combo, Dallas in their white, the Niners in that red. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, what you've been talking about, that tradition, man. And I'm just so juiced. And I'll say this about the Niners, because I got family, diehard friends, man. The red and gold all day. My boy Frankie used to have a saying, 49er Frankie, when we go, we win. Talking about you guys in the Super Bowl up until, Baltimore and then 19, where I believe you guys blew it. But I hate the Rams won last year because I honestly believe the Niners were better. And revisionist history. But again, the reason I say that is you guys were up 10 in their building, man. And that's why I look at Kyle like, it might not be this weekend. It might be next. You got to bring it home because people are giving you your flowers, but you got to, I'm going Beyonce, put a ring on it, man. You got to
put a ring on it.
Yeah, you got to close it, bro.
That's for sure, dude. Like, you're on point about it. Yeah, like, hey, forget about the damn flowers. Let's put a ring on it, man.
There we go.
Like, what have we done lately? We have had great success, but we have not won the Super Bowl ever since.
That's all that counts, no doubt.
Yeah, it's all that matters. Like, you guys have won a recent Super Bowl over the like a year after us, so that's kind of, I guess you could say it's more relevant. But what have the Cowboys done since, right?
They've gone to. At least you've been to 2 Super Bowls. Just think about that week. Think about those 2 weeks. You've been to NFC Championship game. I mean, we have had nothing, and that's why Dak, man, up until Monday, 1 playoff win, bro. You can't be Roger Staubach. You can't be up there with Troy Aikman. You got to do something, and that's why I'm just like, this is so huge for him and the team, obviously, but for him, it's humongous. I cannot wait.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited, man. But hey, man, it's definitely going to be an exciting week, man. For everybody else, man, it has to feel great that we're getting a great rivalry of football, man. Forget about those other rivalries. It's the Niners and Cowboys, hands down, not even close.
Yeah, and this is a rivalry where it ain't, every division. Dallas and the Eagles, Dallas and the Giants, Niners, Rams, Niners, Cardinals. I get all that. I'm talking about outside the division. It's Niners, the Cowboys. That's number 1 to me. Niners, Packers. But that's what I'm talking about. This is that added division rivalry, man. Hey, how many Cowboy fans you could think of to be in Levi's? Because you guys are storied, Dallas, Pittsburgh, Packers, but you guys always invade other stadiums. I'm kind of lightweight thinking. You think you'll see a lot of blue and white out there at Levi's this Sunday? I'm wondering.
I looked at what Dave Lombardi just put in. He said that it's going to be 25% more Cowboys out there with those ticket price. I don't know if that's
man.
I would
Those
think a lot of
ticket
Cowboy
prices
fans
are
would put money in it.
incredible. It costs the ball, baby. These prices are amazing.
Yeah, they are. Like, I guess for some of them, like I guess for the best seat area, they have to pay $49,000 for that one.
Dude, no,
for that game. I'm not even
people
kidding.
Don't make that in a year, fam. Damn,
like,
I ain't hating, but damn, that's how it goes.
That's how serious this game is, bro. This is like the Super Bowl, if I'm being honest.
And it's 3:30, so we get the dusk of a day game with the doubleheader after half, I believe. It'll be a night game, so it's going to be clean.
Oh, for real, man. Hey, man, it was a blast, bro. I know you probably
Anytime, bro. Anytime. You know where to find me, man. Thank you.
No problem, man. But hey,
good luck this week, man.
Good luck to you too, bro. Right. Have a good one, bro. All right. We're good, guys. Wait. All right. Good guess, man.